Hello, welcome to Xtra Speak, episode number 47, I think. I really should start checking these. I say this on a lot of episodes, so I really apologise. It's like kind of a stupid, unintentional, catchphrase of mine. So today's episode is going to be about kind of believing in yourself and doing the thing you love that makes you happy. Hopefully I'll be able to explain in the episode. Hopefully. I can't promise anything. Welcome to Xtra Speak, Xtra Speak. A little more prattle on everything and nothing. Hello, welcome to Xtra Speak. I'm pretty sure it's episode 47. We'll go with that for now. If it's not, then you'll know because it says in the description and what you clicked on. So recently, obviously, I've been doing the podcast for quite a while now. So thank you if you've been sticking with me. And if you're new, welcome. Hello. But yeah, this is hard for me to talk about as well, because I'm not the sort of person to like big myself up or talk about things like this. But I was talking to Sarah the other day. Sarah's my wife. For those that may be new, I don't know why I'm sort of talking to new people today. If you're new, then brilliant. I probably should do that more often anyway. But we're talking about, like doing things you love. Like I've been on the railway for like 20 years, and although it's a career and I know what I'm talking about, hopefully, the majority of the time, it's not something I'm really passionate about. Like, I'm passionate in the fact that I like to do a good job and I like to be good at my job. But fundamentally, I've always been kind of like an entertainer. I know that sounds really cliche, doesn't it? It does sound like cliched, but I've been always creative and wanting to do something in that realm, I suppose. And this podcast is kind of helping me in that. And it's also opened my eyes a little bit to what I should probably be doing with myself. So when I was like younger and stuff, like I was at school, I used to do amateur dramatics, and I was always involved in music groups. And if you listen to previous podcasts, you'll know that I learned to play an instrument, and I've adapted that to learn other instruments. And but I'm also not a master of any of them neither. I learned to play the organ / piano. I got really good, but I've let that slip, so I'm kind of like less than average, probably, I would say. And I can play the guitar a little bit, don't get me wrong, a bit of bass and a bit of drums and stuff like that. So, but I never truly stick to something, and it's something I've had to admit to myself in the last probably few years. Like, I think COVID and lockdown really opened a lot of people's eyes to what they're doing with their lives and what they want to do, and not being able to do what they wanted to do has kind of told them what they wanted to do. So, it's probably been the same. I've always known that I probably should be doing something different and push myself, but it's difficult to get into that mindset. Very much got imposter syndrome I have. Like, I don't feel like I don't deserve success. Probably more messed up than some would think. Or maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, so I was talking to Sarah the other day, and I was just saying to her, like, I want to do something every day that hopefully makes me money. But I want to do something every day that I enjoy. And if I can do that along with the normal job as well, then that's fine. But I would like to use the skills that I've got and hone them and use them to make me happy and to produce work and to produce creative things from my brain that I think I can do. It's not hard. It's not easy for me to say. That's quite a hard thing to say. But I've been writing a book or a couple of books over the last year or so. I'm progressing with them okay. They've each got a few chapters. I've wrote a children's book, which I'm hoping at some point I can pull my finger out and assist the illustrator to actually get some art done, because I'm an arse and I don't ever give her any direction. Hopefully you'll be able to meet her soon. She's hopefully coming onto the podcast. But yeah, and I'm hoping to get that published. That'd be lovely. But money is like, I think my brain works really weirdly. Like, money is like a really important thing in life. But anything I want to do, I don't I feel like money should come as a secondary thing for it. Like, if I make money out of something, then brill. If I don't, as long as it's giving me joy, but I need to pursue something. And the thing that set me off was, I was sat thinking, oh, you know what? It'd be lovely if I didn't have to go to work, and I could just do what I pleased all day. You know, I could sit and do some chapters of a book. I could record some podcasts. I could record video, do some photography. All these things I like, you know, play the piano for a bit, play the guitar for a bit, and just have like the complete freedom to know that I'm not structured at work and can just go from one thing to the other and one thing to the other. So record a podcast, play guitar, go for a walk, go for a coffee, write some lines of a book. And I think that's what everyone kind of dreams of. But then it kind of like hit me a little bit as well that to get to that point, maybe I have to start doing it. Like, maybe I have to. I've started the podcast, and maybe that's the first part of that road. Like, I'm nearly 40, which is scary. Can't believe that. But maybe it's time just to admit that, you know, unless you do a bit of graft in them areas and have faith in yourself and put yourself out there, then that will never happen. And if it doesn't happen, then that's fine because you've lost nothing. But if you do something and you get a book published, or you get more listeners on your podcast and it starts making you a little bit of money, then it's a bonus. And that's how it's always been with this podcast. I didn't start it to be like, I'm going to be a social influencer. I can't even friggin' say it. And I didn't want to start it as that. It was more just to air my feelings, you know, put myself out there a bit and just hopefully spread a bit of joy as well, and maybe make people think, and maybe someone's listening to this now thinking, you know what, you're right, you know, that's how I feel. And if it is, then go and do something about it, because that's what I'm going to try and do. So I've got a LinkedIn account for my podcast, and weirdly enough, not weirdly enough, the other day I decided to change my kind of profile on it to basically say that I'm open to work on it, you know, open to like being contacted, because obviously I want people to contact me to be a guest on the show, or input with me. But I basically put that I'm open to doing some like public speaking, comparing, writing and stuff like that. And I'm not even bothered about money because I don't have a business set up for it. Like, it's not a business. But you've got to speculate to accumulate, I think is the phrase. So I thought I'd change it to that, just to see if anyone came to me and said, you know, can you write me a short story, or can you, can I use you to host a podcast, or can I use you to compare for an evening of you know, like a ceremony or something? I don't know, anything. Like, I feel like I've got the talent to stand in front of people, and everyone always tells me that I'm very chatty, and obviously but puts people at ease and can stand in front of people and keep people interested, which is nice to hear. I don't know whether it's true. I've never found it difficult to stand in front of people and make people chuckle. But I was listening to Billy Connolly's autobiography. Well, it's like I've listened to Billy Connolly's autobiography, but I was listening to something called Made in Scotland, and it's basically like a book about Billy Connolly, written by Billy Connolly, about his love of Scotland and where he comes from and all that. He basically says in that book that he just doesn't know where things come from; they just happen. And people always say, like, well, how are you funny in front of people? And he says, I don't know, I just talk to people. And it very reminded me of like this podcast on a very probably like very small percentage scale of the talent that is Billy Connolly. But I just thought, you know, that's all I do. Like, I just talk, and it comes from the heart, and I do sometimes feel that maybe it would be better if I was with someone, or maybe you could see me, or if it was live, because I feel like I'm a little bit more animated and out, you know, more maybe not eloquent, because I think I do ramble on still, but a little bit more. I can't think of the word. Like emotive in my speech. I can't think of I inflect my words a little bit better. Where sometimes when I'm on this, I'm just like talking, and because I can't visualize anyone give me any feedback, it doesn't help me, my storytelling sometimes. So maybe I am better on stage in front of someone because of that reason, to get that feedback. But yeah, I just thought I'm going to start putting myself out there a bit more, and I may even go busking again. I'm going to have to practice a little bit, but I think I'm going to go busking again because I used to do that years ago, and it used to pay. I used to get a bit of money and go for a coffee, and I used to pay for coffees that way. But get a few quid, and my aim was normally enough to buy a coffee, maybe a coffee and a cake. And if I got a fiver after an hour or so of busking, brilliant. And I never got booed at, so I must be okay-ish. Yeah. I mean, the most I ever got from busking was like 30 quid once for like an hour. And I think that's pretty good. Like, I was impressed by that. I went and had a few beers with that because I was on the bus, so lunch and a beer, like, good stuff. As I tell, like, it wasn't 30 quid, it was about £26, but I rounded up, okay? Rounded up. But yeah, I just thought I was feeling a bit thoughtful, so I thought I'd do a thoughtful Xtra Speak today. But yeah, I was just thinking, if you do have a talent for something, just don't sit on it. Just don't. I wish I'd have kind of had the epiphany, and it sounds really obvious to think that if you've got something, just use it and practice it and make something of it. Because subconsciously and deep down, that's what I've always wanted to do. I used to dream about being a rock star, and I used to play music in my bedroom and rock out and think, I can make some of this, get in a band and stuff, but never pursued it enough to make it come a reality, because I always thought I actually couldn't do that. I couldn't be in a band, but why not? Why couldn't I be in a band? I feel now I could probably be in a band, although I'd be a nearly 40-year-old chubby guy. But what's wrong with that as well? It doesn't matter, does it? If you've got talent, put your mind to it. Follow what makes you happy. Like, this makes me happy. Like, speaking down this microphone, talking shit makes me happy. So yeah, just do what makes you happy. Pursue it. Don't let anyone tell you anything other thing. Because most of the successful people, or all of the successful people in the world, have maybe gone through some shit to get there, but they've just been pursuing something that they love, and probably haven't been searching for money out of it. And that is kind of a nice thing, and that's kind of what I'm aiming for. Not necessarily the money, but I'm just aiming for doing what I want to do to make me happy. And if it means that I can stop working and focus on that full time, then that's the dream, isn't it? Isn't that the dream? I feel like it is. How do you feel about that? Did anything I say just make sense? I don't know. Just contact me. Drop me a line. Comment on social media. And just let me know what is what I've just said absolute bollocks. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Are you already doing something you love? Are you doing that full time? Is that now your job? How did you get there? Let me know. And share your story if you want. We can talk to each other. Come on the show as a guest and tell us how you did it. I'd be very intrigued to hear people's stories and to see how they got from what they love to make them happy, to making it something they can do, and not feel guilty about doing it. Because, as I've said before, I feel guilty when I'm doing things I like, and to making that like basically their full-time job. I'd love to know how that becomes something you can do. I suppose just pursuing it and making it, going after it, really. So, note to self, knuckle down and just do the things you love. Yeah. Hope that made some sort of sense, and hopefully it's inspired you. Hopefully it's inspired you to listen to another podcast. They're not all this serious. I just felt a bit whimsical today and a bit thoughtful, and I do one like this week. So thank you very much for listening. Check out stevenspeak.com, where you can read my thoughts in blog form. You can also check out how to contact me to be a guest on the show, and all the news that's upcoming. And also you can check out the equipment I've got and a little bit of information about how to get into podcasting and what host I use. And if you do sign up to it, you can get a little bit of an affiliation. There's an affiliation link, so if you sign up, I get a bit and you get a bit. So it's worthwhile. Until then, until the next podcast, take care of yourselves. Jerry Springer in it, and I'll speak to you soon. You've been listening to Steven Speak Xtra Speak. Thanks for listening to my unscripted prattle on everything and nothing. Visit XtraSpeak.com for updates, information, and my blog. You can follow more updates on social media at XtraSpeakPC. Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you soon.